What's going on, everybody? So today's video is actually spawned from last week's live stream. I was talking about doing a shrimp tank at Ohio Fish Rescue, the wall tank that they have in their monster pool room, and people were saying that I should do a video on how to set up a shrimp tank. And I've done videos before on shrimp tanks, but I thought let's do a new one. It is February 2021 now, so let's do a current video. And I have a perfect tank to set up. It's going to be my aquatop small cube tank. I believe it's somewhere around the 4.5 gallon mark. I don't know the precise gallons on it, but right now it's just got some snails in it and some crypt plants, and that's it. It used to house one of my betta fish, and then I sold the betta fish, so it's been empty, and it's still running a nano filter, but the nano filter is not set up for shrimps. So I'm going to show you guys how I set up a shrimp tank, and it's not that hard. It's actually fairly easy, and this is a small tank, so we'll see how these shrimp do, but I have no doubt they'll do really well. Let's get into it. Alright guys, here's the tank, and as you can see, it needs some work. It's just been running like this, pretty much nothing in it other than some snails, and I just basically been keeping it going, not really sure what I was going to do with it. You can see these crypts in the back are actually doing really well, but that's really all that's in here. So I think the first step is to actually pause. This does have a fluval nano 3.0 light on it, which is a high-powered light, so it will grow anything I want in here. And then also there is a finnex PF7/PF10 hang-on back filter. These are sold all over online as different filter brands, and I just know this one as the finnex, but I've seen other ones that are marked under different branding. But it's a really good hang-on back filter. It's a nano hang-on back filter, and this is an older version. The newer ones come with an intake sponge filter. This one did not, but I have one right here that we're going to put onto this hang-on back filter to keep it shrimp safe. Because anytime you have some sort of power filter, whether it's a hang-on back or a canister filter, you definitely need to have an intake sponge on it to keep the shrimp from being sucked into it. And then this also adds mechanical and biological filtration, so it's kind of a win-win. But this is not a very big tank. It's about 12 inches square, give or take. But I think the first step is we're going to get the duckweed off the top and kind of clean up the hard water spots and calcium deposits, stuff like that, off the rim. And then we'll go from there. And I'm thinking we're going to do a pretty simple setup. These plants are doing well, but what I want to do is move those to the foreground, and in the background we're going to do a rock pile. I love doing rock piles with my shrimp tanks. It really helps the shrimp thrive, and also the shrimp love rock piles because that's where their babies feel comfortable, and that's where they'll hide. And then we're going to probably pile it up to kind of hide the filter intake over here. So I think we'll do a rock pile over here, have it kind of tapered down, and then put the crypts at the base. And we'll probably leave a little open area up here for feeding and keeping an eye on them. But there's a baby ram's horn right there. But anyways, guys, this is the tank setup. This is small. My go-to tank size is a 20-gallon long if you're trying to breed shrimp for like profit or get a big colony going. But this is just here in my office. It's a good little tank. It'll give me something to enjoy while I'm in here doing office work. But let's get into it. Alright guys, the tank's been running for at least a week now since I kind of redid the rocks and the plants, and I feel very confident that it's fully cycled, and even the ram's horns that were in here have been breeding. These little specks all over the glass are actually baby ram's horns. So I'm confident we can put some shrimp in here, so let me go catch some and then we'll add them. Alright, just as an extra precaution, I'm going to use a little Fritzine 7. And this is beneficial bacteria. I'm just going to pour some in. And you can go by the directions. I just kind of poured in, and being that this is bacteria, the shrimp are also probably going to like it as well. So that just helps seeds the tank. And I know the tank is already seeded, but this is just kind of like an extra precaution. And I went ahead and caught, oh, I don't know how many are in here, but Blue Dream shrimp. There's some adults, some juvies, and some smaller babies in here, but I'm going ahead and just dump them straight in. And this water is straight out of my fish room, so I don't have to worry about like cross-contamination or anything like that. Make sure you always get them all out, because the little guys are tiny, but they're in there, and the water temperature is the same. And no need for me to drip acclimate because they are used to my water conditions already. But the flow is a little high right now. I'm going to leave it. That's on its like max setting. I'm going to leave it as is until it filters this bacteria through, and then I'll turn it down to the min setting because shrimp don't need a ton of flow. Alright guys, let's go over water quality of what this tank's running with a TDS meter. We're just at the 300 parts per million, or TDS. And let's see what the temperature is. This is not a heated tank. Alright, so I thought this would be good to mention. It's taken a few minutes for it to come down. So if you guys are keeping TDS temperature meters in your house, and your house is warmer than your tanks are, you're going to have to give it a minute, because the whole sensor, this whole meter is hot or warm, and it's not very instant on it cooling the temperature probes down. This tank I figured would be around 70, if not maybe a little lower. I would say minimum would be like 67. But this is not a heated tank, and this room actually stays pretty cold compared to the rest of my house. It's a corner room of my house, and it just is not insulated very well. But I'm going to say that this tank is somewhere between 68 and 70. Alright, as far as water parameters, I did do a test on it, so I can tell you guys the pH is 7.0, the GH is 180, and the KH is 40. And as far as the tank goes, it's just standard black aquarium gravel. It's inert. Inert, if you don't know, just means it doesn't affect your pH or anything like that. This is red lava rock. You can get it from your home goods store, Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, landscaping stores, stuff like that. These plants are crypt wendtii, And this is a Finnex hang on back nano filter and a fluval 3.0. Now this light's expensive. I think they're like $86. It's a tiny little guy. I just love it because I like the looks of it, like that floating look on a cube rimless tank. It's just like the perfect light setup, and it allows me to grow anything I want in this small cube. You don't have to have a really nice powerful light like that to have a shrimp tank. This is just my setup. Any light that will grow plants will work for you guys, but it's a really simple setup, and shrimp are so easy to take care of. I still do run snails with shrimp. That's mainly to keep the glass clean. I don't like scrubbing glass at all. And the only thing with rimless tanks is that the water evaporates really quickly on it. You can definitely put like a lid on it, but I just prefer the open top look, and I just top the water off. As far as feeding shrimp, these are Neocaridina. I don't know if I mentioned that. Super easy to take care of. Regular fish food works. You just have to kind of grind it up into a powder so it sinks to the bottom. And I feed these guys a mixture of basically 3 or 4 different foods. The main staple diet that I do feed these guys is the tetracolor tropical granules, just because it's cheap, and I feed that to all my fish tanks because I have to buy cases of it at a time to keep up with all the fish tanks. The preferred food I like to use is either the Sarah shrimp sinking granules. You can see this guy's getting on a granule right there. Sarah's a really good shrimp food. I do sell it. The other one is the Hikari shrimp cuisine. It's another food I sell. It is a good food. And then the third, which is a really good food because it's targeted highly at these guys, is the Shrimp King line of foods. Now, it is a very expensive food, but if you're trying to get really good colorations, or if you're even interested in breeding for profit, you know, if you pick up these Blue Dreams and start breeding them, your local fish store probably would for sure take them because they're very popular. And so are the red cherries. You would think red cherries would kind of died out on popularity now, especially since there's so many more color morphs, but pretty much any store will take really nice red cherries almost all the time. But shrimp tanks, I feel like they're the easiest thing to keep. You don't, like, this is set up, this is good. I know it's a cycle tank. From here on out, I honestly probably won't take water parameter tests or anything like that. I'll just feed them. You don't want to overfeed them, but you don't really want to underfeed them because these guys eat non-stop. So these guys, you know, that bigger one's picking on that food. Even that little baby one is. They don't stop eating. They're constantly eating. So I feel like multiple small feedings a day would be best. But for my situation with work, I usually only feed these guys at night. So I'll feed them right when I get home a little bit, and I'll feed them right before I go to bed. And then during the day, they're eating on biofilm and whatever they find in the tank. But this tank's been empty for a long time, so I'm glad it's back up and I got something to really enjoy here in my office. And shrimp are just so much fun to watch, and especially give this tank a few weeks. I mean, that's all it'll take, and then you'll start seeing buried females, and then the population will increase. And when your population increases, don't forget to increase your food, because you're going to have more and more shrimps as time go on. But don't go chasing water parameters just because I told you mine's 300 TDS. You know, you don't need to go chasing that magical number. 200 TDS up to 500 TDS is fine. And TDS is just the total dissolved solids in the tank. That's kind of measuring almost your water hardness. And something that's going to be cool is that you got to remember these guys have shells that they molt, so you need to keep calcium in the tank. I have a video on using egg shells from chickens for calcium, but what's really cool is I have a shrimp shell bomb is what I'm probably going to call it, coming out here soon, which would be an easy way to add supplements for shrimp. So maybe that'll be a future video and a future product soon, I hope. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully it's a little bit informational on setting up a shrimp tank. Super easy. You can do whatever kind of hardscape you want. I like rock piles because they like to go in it. And you can see one right there, kind of the opening. They like a safe place to hatch out their little babies. So that's why I do rock piles. And I use lava rock mainly because it's got a lot of surface area for beneficial bacteria, a lot of little places for food particles get into and the shrimp can eat on it. But it's also super cheap. You get it in like a 50-pound bag for like 15 to 20 bucks. And you can set up multiple tanks. The size of this pile would let me set up probably 20 different shrimp tanks of this size. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want to see future videos. And as always, guys, keep tanking along.